Welcome to Gail Scott Key's Entertainment Now, brought to you in part by Isola. Inspired women's footwear. Isola's collections are perfectly suited to discerning women seeking exquisite design. Visit our website at isolashoes.com. ISOLA shoes.com. We'll be back with your host, Gail Scott Key, right after this from Isola. Isola is a luxe collection of elegant, distinctive footwear for the modern woman. Inspired by the finest things in life with intricate details, lavish materials, and sumptuous comfort. Isola's refined artistry and impeccable styling are perfectly suited to the discerning woman who knows that exquisite doesn't have to mean extravagant. Visit our website at isolashoes.com, ISOLA shoes.com.
Welcome to the show, and I am your host, Gail Scott Key. You could become a fan of the show by visiting my Facebook page. I'll keep you in know of all the guests who are going to be appearing on the show, like tonight. Oh, do I have a special treat for you. Because, see, I wanted to give you a little bit of a break from all of the political stuff. Not that it's not important, but it is. But I have an awesome, awesome show for you this evening. In the first half hour of the show, I will be speaking with trumpeter, arranger, and composer Winston Byrd, who will be joining me in just a few to talk about his soon-to-be-released third CD called Once Upon a Time, called Now. And in the second half of the show, it's a new feature segment, back-to-back with fashion handbag designer of Le Carrington handbags, jewelry, and more is Lexi Brant Carrington, and celebrity photographer and CEO of Star Equity, David Allen Kogut, is I'll be talking about. You are what you wear, but what are you wearing? I don't know what I'm wearing. All I know is I'm having a lot of fun because you're here with me, and I thank you so much for always joining me. If you're a brand new listener to the show, welcome, and I really, really appreciate it. Now, I want you to sit back and relax because I'm going to put a hurtin' on your ears like nobody's business, and this is from my guest who is going to be coming up in just a few. But first, we're going to hear one of his tracks, Night of a Thousand Stars, and it is again trumpeter, arranger, and composer, jazz artist Winston Byrd. Check it out. my goodness. Okay, you jazz lovers, how is that? How'd you like sinking your teeth into that? Who is the one who created that? As he is a arranger, composer, and also jazz artist, Winston Byrd, and he has performed, recorded with so many big names in jazz, like for a few, the Stylistics, Patty Austin, Michael Bolton, Natalie Cole, Chaka Khan, Black Eyed Peas, and more. Byrd has even appeared on the Jimmy Fallon Show to showcase his extraordinary musical talents. Now, with 2 CDs to his credit, Soul Searchin', which was in 2004, and The Tao of Pooh at 2011, Byrd is here to discuss the launch of his 3rd CD, which is going to happen July 25th, which is called Once Upon a Time, called Right Now. And right now, I want to introduce to you, jazz artist, Winston Byrd. Winston, that just, oh my goodness. Wow. I love it.
Thank you.
I love it.
Thank
you can put a hurting on a trombone like nobody's business. My goodness. This obviously, it takes a lot of time and skill to master that. And you started very young. You got bitten by the jazz bug, if you will, when you were a 7th grader. Is that, am I understanding that correctly?
Yeah. It was, I had, went in and around it because, a lot of music was played in our house, growing up. A lot of different music was played in our house. And as a kid, my folks would go to concerts where we lived near Philadelphia. Penn's Landing was always having summer concerts, so they were always taking me down there. I didn't really kind of go, dive into it until like 7th grade, where it was like, wow, okay, this is kind of what has been trying to find me, and I've been trying to find it. And everything just kind of took over after that, just wanting to learn more and more as I went along.
Well, you obviously did. I mean, my goodness, that is just the most amazing music. And usually on my show, I'm always playing a different variety of music, but that, oh my goodness. So you got into this, you started studying, and, obviously you knew this was going to be your path. Now, you said that this was in your family. How big is your family? Do you have brothers and sisters who also are musically inclined as yourself?
It's the 4 of us, my mother and my father and my older brother. I'm the baby. And they, for the longest time, tried to figure out, it was like, where did this come from? Where could this have come from? And see, my father used to play with his brother way before I was even considered. And unfortunately, his brother passed away in a car accident. He was the serious one. My father just was like, I'm hanging with my brother, I'll play too, And my father could play. He knew chords, everything. He was not a dummy at this. But he never, let us know. And I remember in the crawl space in our house, there was a guitar that was pushed back up in there. My uncle from my mother's side, he played tenor saxophone in the marching band in high school. That was in the crawl space, and I would just pull it out and look at it. It's like, oh, this is like, I didn't know what went where, anything. I would just pick around with it, nothing really serious or anything. And then once my parents actually, I guess they had conversations about this, and it was like, okay, well, we think he's kind of serious with this. Maybe, I guess, we should maybe kind of, and they were not stage door parents. They're not that. They were not that. They're still not that. They're not stage door parents. They weren't like, like you hear about or you read about or you see with, some parents when they really push their child out there. They weren't like that. It was like, all right, well, let's just see like where this goes. And if I needed help, they were very supportive. It didn't really kind of click on until probably like my sophomore year. It didn't really grip on. It was just kind of, I call it the Forrest Gump path, because the wind just took me different places, and it just worked out at like one point to another point to another point to another point. And from there on in, it wasn't like, oh, you walk 2 steps, make a right, and then when you go another couple blocks, it wasn't a set direction. It was just like literally the wind was taking me, and I didn't know what was going to happen. Yeah.
Well, the wind took you as a young trumpeter, and obviously you started in big bands, including those of the Illinois Jacquet, David Count Basie Orchestra, Duke Ellington. Those are some serious bands, Winston. So who approached who, and how did that feel like?
Well, coming out of the gate, my first real gig, like my first really real gig, I had just been out of high school. I was, ready to go to college at NYU, and Dad was like, "Nope." I got offered a road gig with the Stylistics, so it was like, "Can I try this?" And my folks weren't going to tell me no. I mean, I remember when I was offered a chance to go with like a high school jazz band to all these all-stars to go to Europe. My folks didn't let me go. They weren't ready for that yet. But I had graduated. They knew the Stylistics. They knew their music. They were like, wait a minute, the Stylistics want our son to go out on the road with them. We know their music. We dance to their music. We hung out. That's the music of and they want our son. My mother was ever so happy to let me go. She laid down, I will tell you this, she did lay down some very serious rules before I stepped on that plane. And she had to as a mother. And believe you me, if she hadn't have, I don't think, I don't think that my life would have been different, but I'm just glad she did. And she just laid out, it wasn't like a whole rule book. It was like, look, there's all this out here. I'm sending you out into the world. If you mess up in certain, this is going to go away, what you're embarking on. And she made it very, very clear to me. And that was, I mean, I would only hope any mother would do that if, their son is actually going out to do something that, we just can't believe that he got the opportunity to do. So I was there for like 4.5 years. You were talking about the big bands. I had to tell you that story to tell you this. I was making my way back and forth to New York, playing up there and getting my name around and kind of just, how can I say, kind of, having the Stylistics as a jump-off point, and it made me feel secure because it was like, okay, well, I know most people know who they are, so it's like, okay, well, you play trumpet with them. And so I was going up to New York and trying to establish myself. And a good friend of mine called me out of the blue to go with Illinois Jacquet to play lead trumpet for them. And I was like, oh, this is what I was waiting for. And I had just bought his last big band record, so I knew all of the music going into. I knew what he was going to be playing going into that gig. So it was no problem for me. That's the one thing that I guess might be a lost art, with young musicians coming up. Know what the gig is before you go in there. If you get offered a gig, it's not going to kill you to spend a little bit of money, go out and buy the material if it's available, especially, with all the, technology being the way it is today. We didn't have that back then. It was like go to the record store and try to find this stuff. And luckily we had places like Tower and Sam Goody and, which we don't have anymore. And that's a whole other story together. But I was able to access that and just be ready to walk into that gig. And Jacquet led to Basie, which was kind of like an interim thing because the great Frank Foster was still leading that band, and Frank and I got to be really close when I was in New York. And then I went off with Ellington. I had originally played with Ellington during my time with Jacquet when Mercer Ellington was still alive, and I kind of just drifted away from the band after he passed because everything, was kind of, what's the band going to do and everything. So I got, after I had just came off of with Basie, I had just come off with Basie, and I was still doing Jacquet's gig. I got a call out of nowhere to rejoin up with Duke Ellington, and I stayed there for almost 5 years before T.S. Monk came out of nowhere and snatched me up for his band.
Oh, my goodness. Well, talking about snatching up, we don't want anyone to get snatched up or away because I am going to be back, and I'll be talking more with trumpeter, arranger, and composer, jazz artist Winston Byrd. So please don't go anywhere. We'll be back right after this.
Isola is a luxe collection of elegant, distinctive footwear for the modern woman. Inspired by the finest things in life with intricate details, lavish materials, and sumptuous comfort. Isola's refined artistry and impeccable styling are perfectly suited to the discerning woman who knows that exquisite doesn't have to mean extravagant. Visit our website at isolashoes.com, ISOLA shoes.com.
Welcome back to Gail Scott Key's Entertainment Now. My guest is trumpeter, arranger, and composer, as well as jazz artist Winston Byrd, who we played one of his songs, Night of a Thousand Stars. And perhaps, you also caught him on the Jimmy Fallon Show, where you just had highlighted your exquisite talent. What was that like appearing on his show?
Now you're asking one of the $1 million questions. Oh, I'll really be honest with you. And some very dear friends involved with the record. We had a powwow about that one night on a three-way. One guy in Oregon, another guy in Texas, and we're telling them, like, you guys know, like, life is really much, and I was thinking for the three of us, because that was just really the incubation point, the starting point for the record was right around that time after I did the show. And I said, life is going to change after this. Do you guys realize this? Like, I wasn't saying it in an egotistical way. It's like, right. Even when I got there, you can never forget things like this. I drove up, I flew in to my parents live outside of Philadelphia, Wilmington, Delaware, where it's my adopted home. And I flew into Philly. We, hung out. My mother was like, let me do your hair, because she's a 45 years, retired beautician. Her hands are the only hands that have touched this head. So she's been doing it. She loves it. It's like, let me do it. Let me do your hair before you go on TV. Let me do your hair before you go on this tour. Okay.
Very cool.
So next day, I get the car. I roll up, drop the car from the train station, take the train in, catch a cab, and it really didn't hit me until the cab pulled up right in front of Rockefeller Center, NBC Studios, and there he said, The Tonight Show with Jimmy Fallon, and big letters, and I get out of the cab, and it's like the first thing that I hear in my brain is, dude, you're not in Kansas anymore. And it was really like, really, I mean, just 6 months earlier, I got to do Blackish with Anthony Anderson, and I got to play a young Dizzy Gillespie. So this was like, okay, now we did this. Now we're going to do this. And it's like, are you kidding me? I'm just, a hayseed from, the Delaware Valley. This is really, this is like NBC. This is really okay. And went in, got my pass, and went up to the green rooms. Everything was laid out, and nice people, and we ran the rehearsal with Megan Trainor a few times, and she liked what was going on. I was like, okay, great, thanks. And, it was like, and it really didn't sink in until I think I got home, and I was really racing to get home because I forgot it was Friday night when we taped the show. Trying to get a cab Friday night at 5:30, because what they do is they rehearse and run tape from 10 to 5. So you're out of there at 5. So I get down. It's almost close to 6. I'm trying to get a cab just to get to the train station. Finally get the train station, get the train. It's like 8:30. By 8:30, 8:45, I'm like, I got this, no problem. Get out on the road. Oh, just crazy traffic. I just make it home to Delaware just as the Tonight Show is coming on, because when they talk in the sense, what is that, the credit card commercials,
right?
Doing doing all this stuff and then getting to watch your appearance on The Tonight Show with your parents, priceless. That's what I was racing home to do because, and we sat there in the living room and just, just sat there and watched it. No, we watched it as it aired, and it was, they saved it on DVR, but I just literally made it home, and that's for me. That's what it's all about. That's
amazing. That's a wonderful thing. And your parents, I'm sure, were tickled pink. And I'm sure those of you who are tuning in, you stragglers, I am talking right now to trumpeter, arranger, composer, jazz artist Winston Byrd, who is, oh my goodness, he can play the trumpet like nobody's business. And you guys have got to check it out because we've got to talk about this because we've got a little bit of time. A half hour goes by, unfortunately, Winston, so quickly. But you're going to have the release of your third CD, July 25th, from what I understand. It's Once Upon a Time called Right Now. Is that correct?
That is correct. Everything is. I'm trying to do this and go on the road at the same time. I just got in from Vancouver and Vegas with the great comedian Craig Robinson. Now I'm headed out tomorrow to play with the Nashville Symphony, featured soloist with Mary Wilson. So she's really, she is the grande dame, I'm telling you, and she knows how to hold an audience.
You played with her before. Exactly.
Yes, I've been playing off and on with her. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I've been off and on with her since about 2002, I believe.
That is amazing. Winston, you really took my breath away, honestly. And for those of you at home, you have got to check it out. Winston, I'm going to give you a few minutes on here. If you would be so kind, send us a few of the links of where we can go to check you out and the release of your new CD, Once Upon a Time, called Right Now, coming out July 25th. You guys want this? Where can we go to get that, Winston?
Well, right now, we've had our pre-order sale now. Friday, the 22nd, is when the official download releases go out. And the physical product will be available coast to coast and then some via Rope-A-Dope Records. That is, the official release is the 25th of July.
Wonderful, wonderful. I am so excited and I'm so honored between your hectic schedule of getting ready to travel. I can't thank you enough for taking the time to come on my show. It is amazing. I know that all of myself as well as the listeners, you're a sweetheart. We wish you all the best of luck. And, of course, you'll have to come back to tell us how it went with Mary Wilson being on the road and stuff. That is amazing. But certainly, I'm telling you, this music, guys, ladies, let me tell you, you want some old school jazz, you want some really good, talk about taking you back in time. Winston Byrd is the man. Trumpeter, arranger, and composer, jazz artist Winston Byrd. Do not miss him. He's also on Facebook. Winston, it has been a pleasure, and I can't thank you enough for joining me. Say you'll come back.
Yes, I will. I will come back. Thank you, Gail. Thank you.
Oh, you're more than welcome, and you have a safe trip. And for those of you at home, don't go anywhere because, as I said, in the second half hour of the show, it's a new feature segment, back-to-back with fashion handbag designer of Carrington handbags, jewelry, and more is Lexi Brant Carrington, and celebrity photographer and CEO of Star Equity that I will have to turn on to Winston Byrd in just a minute here because they're going to be talking about what you are wearing. Something. I don't know.
Yeah, you got to talk about that. You have to discuss that with people. I'm
telling you, we're all over that. So you guys don't go anywhere. We'll be right back after the break.
Isola is a luxe collection of elegant, distinctive footwear for the modern woman. Inspired by the finest things in life with intricate details, lavish materials, and sumptuous comfort. Isola's refined artistry and impeccable styling are perfectly suited to the discerning woman who knows that exquisite doesn't have to mean extravagant. Visit our website at isolashoes.com, ISOLA shoes.com.
And now, back with your host, Gail Scott Key.
Hey, welcome back to Gail Scott Key's Entertainment Now. And what you're also going to check out is a brand new feature segment that we have going on for you. It's called Back to Back. And right now is joining me and joining you is fashion handbag designer of Carrington handbags, jewelry, and more is Lexi Brant Carrington and celebrity photographer and CEO of Star Equity, David Alan Kogut. What are you guys up to? Are we talking about fashion? And it would be nice if I even put their mic on. My goodness. Hey, guys, how you doing?
Doing great.
How are you?
Doing great. Doing fantastic.
Obviously, I have technical problems. So what are we talking about tonight, folks? We're talking about what are you wearing for fashion or fashion wearing you. You guys set us straight because I don't know what we're talking about.
Well, actually, today we're talking about how people perceive you based on what you wear. And, how people judge you based on what fashion you wear and how you present yourself. And I have my back-to-back partner somewhere. And where are you, Lexi?
Well, I'm in New Wave, New York. Where are you, Kogut?
Oh, I'm still out in California, sunny California. And I was kicking back here wondering, so what are you wearing?
Oh, are you kidding on me?
Oh boy.
This is a G-rated show, but I will tell you that I'm in a hotel in New York, and I'm in some PJs, so I can just tell you that if I end up going out of this hotel right now, fashion critics will not be judging me in a good light. It will not be a good scene. So.
Okay, well then we'll hold that back. We'll hold that back for now. But
yeah. No, this is an important topic, right? Because they say you are what you eat, and are you what you wear? And I think, especially as an artist and a designer, there's so much reliance on what I do for consumers, especially women, which is what I design for, to look for us to make them look the best that they can and wear something that makes them feel special. And, when you talk about trends, it's sort of a catch-22 because, David, you photograph for magazine covers, and, that often becomes the norm of what consumers look to follow. And how do you follow that and at the same time, make yourself unique in the process? For me, with Carrington handbags, one of the things that I've done is to make the handbags limited editions so that, women can be in a room of 500 people and there's only one person carrying a Carrington art handbag and making them stand out in the crowd. It becomes tricky because even growing up as a kid, you want to fit into the crowd when you grow up because kids pick on you. And when I was growing up, I don't know if you guys remember, but Jordache jeans and Gloria Vanderbilt were really big and clogs were really big. Mm-hmm. And my mom buy me those things, and I would keep telling her, I'm going to get picked on. And she always said to me, don't follow the crowd, set your own trend. And I think what you wear.
And you have.
And it tells people how you feel about yourself when you walk into a room and what you want to say about yourself. And
that's
David. Yes, Gail.
Yeah, I was just going to say with David, especially when you're taking pictures of the stars, what are you seeing as a trend on the red carpets, and is it maybe influencing you as yourself personally as to what you wear, what they're wearing?
Well, it's interesting you bring that up because that's what came to mind is, shooting on the red carpet. The whole idea is to stand out. You want to attract the photographers because the photographers are going to zero in on you and you're going to get the publicity. You're going to get in the rags. You're going to get the exposure and the talk and the banter about what did they have on, who were they with, what were they carrying, and, who wore what you wore at the previous opening or red carpet. They compare two women wearing the same dress, things like that. So it is about standing out. But one of the interesting things that made me think about an interesting story in terms of judging people from, not necessarily from a photography standpoint, although that is an important thing on a red carpet. I'll share with you a quick story about, at the Friars Club, actually, we had an event going on, and Brett Ratner, who is a well-known director, he directed Rush Hour and the X-Men and all that, he was there speaking at a Jerry Lewis dedication. So, those two guys are real tight. And I was there shooting. And, we didn't have a red carpet, but we had people coming through that, as they came through, they dressed a certain way. You know, a woman would come through, you would know, okay, who's that? Who's that? You know, by her, the way they looked. And I would zero in. Now, while Brett was talking, a guy came out of a New York cab, literally with, you can envision a blue Yankees cap, baseball cap, a plaid shirt, and ripped jeans and work boots.
And walking into the Friars Club like this?
Yeah, he walked into the Friars Club.
Wow.
And, you know, people have on suits and, Halston dresses. I mean, and here comes this guy, and he's only like 5, this little guy. And, it's one of those things where you look and you say, well, what? Who's this guy?
He didn't get the memo.
Like, he didn't get the memo. Or did someone beat a fair? He's coming in to kind of rough somebody up. I was like, a little paparazzi here. He gets something good,
Are you sure he wasn't in New York some?
What's that?
Oh. Are you sure he wasn't in New York trying to crash his way into the Friars Club?
Well, it's funny you say that because that does happen. People kind of check out who's coming in and they try to make their way in and things, But this guy was very obvious, did not fit in. So what did I do? I looked at him and said, who is this guy?
Yeah, who is he?
Well, he walked right into the main room, got up on the podium and said, hi, everybody. And they're, oh, hey, and they knew who he was. I did not. And he started talking, and I said, who is this guy? He looks like a bum. Who let him in? Turns out it was Ron Perlman, who is worth of $12 billion and formerly Ellen Barkin's husband. And, there's a lot of story behind him, owner of Panavision. I mean, this is like a big, biggity big.
Kogut.
Fast.
You didn't go up to him and tell him that you needed to go to Amsterdam in 72nd, and how much was his cab going to cost? Did you?
Yeah, I asked him for a ride home. I said, "Hey, dude, you want to share? You want to share a cab? Save the $5. It just goes to show that when it comes to fashion, I don't know, and this could be a whole nother section of another show because it is once you reach a certain level. Are you still dressing to impress? Do you still need to be concerned? Is it something that's important, So I find that sometimes some of these people that when they get to a certain level, either financially or achievement-wise, it's almost like fashion almost kind of takes a second place.
Exactly. I want to ask you both a question. Question because we're talking about fashion, and you two can educate me. So when you're not doing what you normally do, when you're not designing handbags, Lexi, when you're not taking pictures of stars, David, what do you guys like to wear? What's your most comfortable outfit? Lexi, you go.
Well, I'm sort of one of these people that I always have to feel chic, even if there's stuff going on around me, and it's really crazy, but I mean, I literally could be in leggings and those 5-inch platforms are still on me. I don't know, it's almost like I want to go to sleep with them, but a lot of it has to
that'll be painful.
Well, yeah,
ouch, ouch. What was that? I have bruises where I didn't know I had skin,
Yeah. And David, what do you like to wear?
For me,
be
I'm
careful.
kind of
it is a family show. It's a family show.
Okay, well then I won't go into that part, but I'll stay in the mainstream. I think.
What am I going to do with you two?
Well, we'll talk later. But anyhow, I think for me that's like a chameleon. It's if I kind of just if it's a dressy type of situation, I like to dress. I mean, for me, I like to dress up a little more, especially from a photography standpoint. I mean, you'll see guys, especially on a red carpet, they've got, they haven't shaven in 5 days, their hair's sticking all over the place, and they got jeans and work boots on. I show up in a nice shirt and a blazer, and very rarely wear jeans and nice pair. It's like. My
what about
thing
when you're not working, though? Like when you're not working. I mean, I could literally be going to the supermarket, and I'm crazy. I'll have a Carrington bag on my arm because it makes me feel good.
Yeah. Well, they're gorgeous, so why wouldn't they?
Girl.
Yeah,
walking
that's
down
the
the
thing
aisle.
to do.
Excuse me, can
That's
you
all
show
she
me
needs
where
is
the
her Carrington
tomatoes are?
bags, I think.
That's right. Where are your tomatoes, darling? That's
I should put them in my bag.
You guys
catch her in the
are
melon aisle.
amazing.
Yeah.
All right, then. Well, so you guys are in two different locations, having fun. And then you know something. I know, David, you're going to be returning back. And everybody is asking the question, so what is back-to-back? Back-to-back is these two crazy little women people. Did I say women? For David.
Whoa, back up. Reverse.
David has a little bit of that feminine side. Why don't you give her a little bit of that?
I'm never going to live this down. You guys who are listening out there, this is awesome. You got to tune in because now this is going to be the new hit feature segment, Back to Back, with Lexi, Brant, Carrington, and David Allen Kogut. And these two keep me going. Listen, see? They get me going. I'm
see?
So what are you guys going to have on next week? So I'm glad you guys educated us in the clothes department. So what do we got going on next week? Because I've got something really exciting that we're going to have next week on the show. You guys go first. What you got? Mm-hmm.
You go, Kogut. You go, Kogut. You go, Kogut.
Oh, what are we going to have next week? Well, yeah, I think, one of the things that we were talking about, we were talking about a lot of fashion and things of that nature. I think we might bend it back towards a little bit of entertainment about how to get started in the entertainment business. Like what's Lexi's story, because she was, a child actress and got into that and going to school at the, for acting conservatory and all that, energy that she put into it. And then how I got started was, it's an interesting serendipitous kind of, I don't want to say luck, but, being at the right place at the right time. And we want to share a little bit about that because, people out there may have questions about, okay, if I'm into all this, where do you start and how do you start? Because going, to school or things of that nature, it's not a linear path. So I think that's where we're going to go next week.
Am I going with you next week? Coming back here,
boy.
I'm really upset. He's been in California for 10 days. He didn't take me with him. He didn't even offer to take me with him. He tells me he's working on a Meatloaf cover.
Yeah.
He's sending me images of cafe mocha latte fluffaroos over there.
Yeah, I was just on the beach today. I have shorts on and a T-shirt. So, see, when in California, it's like when in Rome, there's no blazers and shirts. I got shorts and flip-flops. So there's your fashion statement for Manhattan Beach, California, is flip-flops, shorts, and a T-shirt. Yeah.
You know what's going to happen, Lexi, is TMZ is going to catch him. TMZ is going to catch him, and we're going to see him because they're going to be out there talking, something about one of the entertainers, and you're going to see David Allen Kogut just right behind there with the bunny ears or something. You know you will. I think I know that guy.
It's going to be much worse than that, honey. I'm going to make sure that they catch him with his pants down. Oh, no, they're going to catch him.
Come on.
See how
we're going to bleep that out. We're going to bleep that out. Yes, I do see how we've had this discussion. What are you doing?
Gail, she's got an evil bend, bam, kind of just goes that way. That's why she likes to wear the dark colors all the time, anyhow. Yeah.
Oh, my goodness. I think I just turned pretty pale, and if you saw me, you'd understand how difficult that could be. Anyway. So I certainly hope, David, you have a safe trip back home, so this one will stop being all upset and thinking the bad things that she's thinking. And I don't even want to know. That wasn't a lead-in. That wasn't a lead-in.
That's right. We'll keep it nice and clean and squeaky clean next time. Squeaky clean.
It'll be full of soap and bubbles, I promise.
Oh,
yeah, but it'll be good stories. It'll be good shocking stories.
Good shocking stories. Well, I'm shocked. So we'll be wrapping things up with Gail Scott Key's Entertainment Now right after the break, and I'm sure you guys won't be going anywhere while I talk to my crew over here.
Isola is a luxe collection of elegant, distinctive footwear for the modern woman. Inspired by the finest things in life with intricate details, lavish materials, and sumptuous comfort. Isola's refined artistry and impeccable styling are perfectly suited to the discerning woman who knows that exquisite doesn't have to mean extravagant. Visit our website at isolashoes.com, ISOLA shoes.com.
Welcome back to Entertainment Now with Gail, Scott, Key. These guys are awesome. They keep me going. I just want to do a special thank you again to Lexi and David. Also a special thanks to trumpeter, arranger, composer Winston Byrd. Don't forget his new CD, Once Upon a Time, called Right Now, will be released on July 25th. But you guys know me. I don't want to make you wait too long. Here's a little taste of one of his songs, Brown Eyes. I will see you next week. Thank you so much for joining me.
You've been listening to Gail Scott Key's Entertainment Now, brought to you in part by Isola, inspired women's footwear. Isola's collections are perfectly suited to discerning women seeking exquisite design. Visit the website at isolashoes.com, ISOLA shoes.com.